take home the gold. He could be too far. No, he's kicking. Oh, what a catch!
Puts a spicy forehand out in front of Naomi Morcilla.
Wu for the win. Team Canada. Garrett Wu!
Santos with the layout grab.
Oh, that fantastic grab. The claws of Chaffer.
Canada just became the world champions.
Canada and the rest of this very big world. You're listening to the Huckin podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Theo Wan, living in Kingston, Ontario.
And I'm Danny Proby from USBC, and we are your coast-to-coast guide to all things Canadian Ultimate. Now, we both are, that post-tournament depression, a little bit of that hitting both of us, I assume. Theo, hit me up with the thing that you're the most sad about and the thing that made you the most happy. About nationals, of course.
Wow, it's like a straight therapy session right now on the air. I like that. Twice a week.
We'll do that off the air, so
yeah,
may as well do it on the air.
Do it on the air. Thing I was stoked about, I enjoyed the hangout with the peeps, especially at the party. We'll talk about the party later specifically because, people got some gripes about that. But that was pretty fun seeing all the different people at the tournament. And I know this happened to you as well, Danny, but people coming up to us and just thanking us for what we've done for the podcast was really special. That was really cool just to have people that we definitely don't know come up to us and shake our hand and just thank us. Was a pretty cool experience. So I did enjoy that. And also just playing my first national since, 2016? So.
Yeah, we got to get Ultimate Canada to hire us to actually do the coverage next time.
But then we can't play.
Well, you specifically, but we proved that we can play and still cover stories. We maybe had a mistake or two. We thought a team won a game on a certain day, but it was the day before. But the fact that we were able to kind of come up with that many stories when we were both very invested in our own team's path, I think was a testament to the fact that we can do both.
Yeah, I will say that that's probably one of the things that you asked not so good. It was hard balancing it. I did enjoy commentating, but I would say actually a negative is I wish I could commentate more. But once again, the schedule, the way it is, how it goes. So a definite highlight was just being on the live stream. I don't think my parents have ever watched me play. So I know I saw our family group chat and they were like, oh, Theo's on now. So that was kind of cool. You also gave me a shout out on the live stream. That was a little excessive, but thank you for doing that.
That's how I roll. I don't do anything in moderation.
It was
I feel like you should know that.
It was all caps. I was like, okay, Danny, this is a little bit unnecessary right now.
Put Theo on.
No, that was good.
But, did they want to win? I don't know.
I appreciate the hype. What about you? You were in the same city or same province that nationals happened, so maybe not as much withdrawal. No jet lag to speak of.
Yeah, I think the biggest withdrawal thing would just be, honestly, I just love seeing all my U24 kids everywhere. It just filled my heart up and made me feel really good to sit with them and watch them play, cheer them on. That was definitely a high, but now a low because I miss them all again. I get very attached to people. It's a flaw and also something good, but yeah, I miss them a lot. And then I would say my biggest high or favorite moment or memory is just being in the final and feeling in my body about it. Because I think when Traffic was at CUC and we were in the showcase game, I was very out of my body and kind of vibrating at a very high frequency, but I was able to stay calm and be really present in this game. And I really enjoyed it. I felt really proud of, we went down early, but I felt proud of how we fought for the whole game. And yeah, I feel really good about where we are at this point in our season. So feeling really good about that post CUCs.
Are you gonna share the fact that you got to see yours truly multiple times during the week? That must have made your day every day, right? That.
What was your favorite time seeing me, Theo?
Well, that's a good question. Honestly, probably commentating.
Commentating on the live stream or commentating on the Instagram live?
Oh, the Instagram live was hype. That was actually kind of cool. Danny was the camera person, scrolling around, running running around trying to catch it. That was actually probably the sickest time because it was like ad-libbed and like we got a bunch of viewers. That was pretty cool. So
yeah, it was fun. It's fun.
Are you gonna share a low light or no?
No, well, my low light is that I miss all my U24 kiddos again.
Oh, okay, fair. Yeah, that's fair.
I just I miss being around people that I love all the time. People withdrawal.
So this episode, we got a lot to get to because obviously we're talking CUC Senior episode 2 in 1 week. Thank you, Sue, editor, like killing it out here. We really appreciate it. We got some news though to talk about. Coaches being announced. So let's jump into the news.
We now have breaking news.
All right, welcome to your news section. By the time this episode comes out, there might be more coaching announcements
we hope
happening, but we cannot speak about them yet. It's supposed to be, I think, probably the release the day that this comes out. So that will be the CUC coaches, assistant coaches will be announced then. In terms of more recent announcements, we got the U20 assistant coaches announced. And so for the mixed team, we have joining Edward Guo, we have Elliot Wong from Manitoba. So Elliot has been playing for 20 years. I actually got to meet Elliot at the prospect camp, and something that I appreciate about him is that he's like laser focused on what's happening on the field. And I saw it again at CUCs when he was coaching as well. It's cool. He's also a doctor who specializes in sports medicine, so extremely valuable. He's been coaching since 2012, coaching the team Manitoba Junior Open team.
Say it.
I cannot. And so he's super excited to be coaching U20 mixed alongside Guo. And then we also have Vicky Shimoda, who started her playing career playing mixed way back when, been playing forever as well. In 2013, she was part of the inaugural Women's Masters year in Canada, competing with Tara and earning a silver medal. Has been playing a bunch, coaching Toro a bunch. She's very, very excited also to be expanding her coaching career and joining the mixed team.
Yeah, there's a lot of new blood, first of all, in these announcements. We'll talk
which is
more,
great.
Which is, love it. Habib Atala, this is open now. He's a certified coach, NCCP, so love that. Been the Ignite coach since the 2019-2020 season. They've won Ontario Regionals twice the last 2 years. He's played with the Outlaws, played with Phoenix, Shrike, Swift, and then captained out. So he has a lot of like coaching experience as well as some playing. And I know his passion because when I talked to him after the tournament, after the juniors tournament, he had no voice left. So he's passionate out there, and he's also a teacher, so that's kind of fun. It's always cool to know the careers of these people like outside of Frisbee. So love that. And obviously he's looking forward and excited for this journey. Alex Lamb is back. So he was the U20 head coach the last cycle, and now he's an assistant coach here. Pretty amazing 2023 so far. Dino just obliterating and winning, and then Red Flag as well. So coaching that. So he's done a lot. And is part of that Prime program. So good to see him get another opportunity. And we're fired up for U20s.
All right, moving on to the women's team, we have Eric Hunter, who started coaching in Ottawa, moved to Vancouver, coached in Vancouver for a while, and won a bunch of stuff along the way. He was able to coach U20 in Poland as the assistant coach in 2016. And then he doubled down, went back to Poland last year with the U20 Open squad. So he's been with the Wicked West girls program and has been helping that program do amazing things. He's played a lot of Ultimate, and he is going to be helping the U20 women this year. So not Poland this time. So maybe he's excited to kind of check out a new dorm situation. Although it was really convenient having him there because he knew exactly where everything was.
Oh, really?
Where the tram was. It was he's like our little tour guide. So
Spy.
Joining them on the women's team, we have Victoria Lamb. So we got a sibling duo in this coaching squad.
They're siblings?
Yeah. There's a bunch of lambs, but they are related as in their brother and sister. So I feel like that must be rare. So congratulations to them. Victoria has been playing competitive Ultimate since the age of 16. If you know anything about Vancouver Juniors Ultimate, you know the name Vic Lamb. She's been around forever, coaching the top teams since basically she was born, and played on banana cutters and everything. So super exciting to add her name to this list of new coaches.
Yeah, I think that's all the news I take away is that there's a lot of new blood coming in. I think that's great, especially obviously adding the mixed team at U20 level. Maybe we'll go U17s Ultimate Canada, Danny's proposal. But the coaches getting involved, new blood, I think that's just a good thing. Not saying that the coaches who already have can't do it, but it's just good to get some new people in the system out here. So yeah, I'm excited for when the what coaches get announced when they do. I know people have been sitting on a lot of this news for a while because you got to plan stuff. You can't when it gets announced. Obviously, those people know for a long time. So let's get the what coaches out so we can celebrate them too. That's it.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts, Danny?
No, just like for those of you that are new to coaching at this level, it's going to be the best experience of your life. Give everything you've got to it because it will pay back in return. The relationships that you'll get to build with these athletes will transcend just this cycle. So it's very, very exciting. Congratulations. You earned it. Have a great time.
Yeah. Okay. Other news. USAU stuff still going on. So Mola and Fable, two mixed teams out of Vancouver, they're going to Spawn Fest this weekend. Not hosted by Spawn. Just so you know, it's more of a West Coast tournament. And then Red Flag. Hey, you just played spoiler alert, won nationals, and you're going to go to Fruit Bowl. There's some top teams going, Mixtape, Oregon, Scorch, and Moondog. So, yeah, this will be a good test for them. They're seeded number 1, but we know what happened last time when they were seeded number 1. So we're wishing them all the best, or all 3 teams all the best. Pro Champs, we're going to do a preview next week. The schedule is out. I'm just going to let you, audience, go look at the seeding. That's all I'm going to say.
Who cares about the seeding?
I'm not trying to spark no Instagram comments. You know what I'm saying? So just look at the seeding. And then last bit of news, congrats to Cody Hubbard. He coaches Union and he won the picks contest. So congrats to you. You win a full 1-year all access subscription to Ultiworld. You can watch all the game film you want and enjoy that. Thank you for everyone participating in the contest. It was a good time. So
I think that prize has gone to good use. I think Cody will actually use it and watch a lot of film. Very, very dedicated human being.
Yeah, you must know Cody from the BC days, no?
Yeah, I think he's moving back too. Like he's just there.
Oh, breaking news!
Saying
breaking news.
Hello, and then he's coming back. Well, maybe not breaking. I don't know, Cody. Sorry.
just outing him on the podcast. Like, that's tough.
I mean, it's unconfirmed, but I thought that he was maybe going to be coming back and coaching.
Rumors in the stratosphere. Team. That's it.
Definitely rumors, but you know how they say about rumors. They're sometimes not true. So speculation. Okay, that is it for the news section. We're going to head to the main event. It's what, Theo? Was a synonym for like really large? And...
Oh gosh, don't even do it. Oh.
Okay. Girthy episode coming at you. Going to take a quick break and we'll catch you on the other side.
This is Dave from Alberta Flatball Club, and you're listening to the Huckin A podcast, your coast-to-coast guide for all things Canadian Ultimate.
Welcome to CUC Senior Recap. We are going to start with the best division, the Senior Women's Division. So kicking it off in pool play, the story, which is not necessarily a story, is that most of everything in this division kind of goes to seed. So Traffic wins Pool A with a plus 31 point differential. Closest game that they had was against Fusion, 15-10. It was close all the way through. Traffic, I think, just pulled away at the end. Sixers takes Pool B with a plus 32 score differential. And even with the second and third seeds, so Fusion Remix, Venus Hucklebears, they were not close. It was a big separation between the number 1 seeds, the number 2 seeds, and the number 3 seeds. And yeah, so that's kind of just... It goes pretty chalky, as they say in the biz. Pool C breaks up this pattern a little bit as Drift wins 13-7 over PPF, and Iris gives up 9 points in pool play, going 15-3 in each one of their games. So they had a plus 36 score differential, which is just commanding. For Pool D, everything from Pool A and Pool B is the same thing here. It goes chalky. Stella has a score of plus 35 score differential. So in theory, Traffic was the weakest number 1 seed, followed by Sixers, I guess, if you like take the score differential into play. But the second seeds, third seeds, and fourth seeds are all pretty random because they're drawn out of the pot system. And so it kind of just is what it is. It's potentially that Iris had the easiest pool, or you never really know what's happening on any given day. But yeah, that's the kind of story of pool play, is that 3 out of 4 divisions completely chalky.
Yeah, that was actually kind of wild. Good job seeding. Good job seeding. That's all we're gonna say. Good job seeding. Okay, power pools. So reminder about power pools: the top 2 teams from each pool go to an upper pool, and then the bottom 2 teams from each pool go to a bottom pool. And if you're the lowest of the top pool, and you would play the top of the lower pool. Okay. In power pools, pool E, Traffic takes down Iris, and then Fusion, they avoid. They take care of business because they avoid a pre-quarter. They beat Cube 13-9. Sarah Jacobson has 18 points in those like power pool contests. In Pool F, Stella doubles up Venus to take the second spot, and Venus gets her ticket to quarters by beating Incognito. They break to win. And this was on the second day of play, and we didn't talk too much about the weather yet, but there was some like windy happenings going on there. Maud Sampson assists on 5 of the 7 Montreal goals. In the lower pools, Remix holds their seed, and they get a spot in the pre-quarters, and Huckle Bears does the same. So they're trying to play up, and the other 2 top teams are trying to avoid going down.
Yeah, as you were saying, the wind was definitely a factor on day 2. It was swirly, it was changing, it was crosswind, it was up and down, it was kind of all over the place. And so we had some points that I had experienced personally that were like 10, 12, 13 minutes long, where like the D lines are just out grinding zone. So I assume a lot of these lower scores are because it's like a lot of zone, a lot of turnovers, that type of thing. All right, heading into pre-quarters, Cube holds their seed with an 11-7 win over Huckle Bears, and Incognito falls to Remix 14-10, which puts themselves back up into the top 8 just like last year. Moving into bracket play, the top 3 seeds win their quarters by a healthy margin, but it was the Fusion Stella game that people had their eyes on. It was kind of the game to watch of quarters. Everyone else assumed that the other games would be kind of taking care of business. So Fusion went out with a 4-0 lead and kind of never looked back. And so they ended up taking half 9-3 and eventually ended up winning 15-10. Abba Bredney had 2 assists and 4 goals in that game. Now I want to say that even though I think that Pool A was probably the hardest pool in the women's bracket, based on the fact that Traffic and Fusion are both quite strong teams, and Remix also made it into quarters, I want to say that Fusion getting that game against Traffic and Traffic getting that game against Fusion, I think paid off for both of those teams, because Stella goes into this game with not really having had enough kind of gritty, grindy, close games, whereas Fusion had that more of that experience. And so I think that makes a big difference here. So the top 2 seeds, Traffic and Sixers, were set now for a crash course to meet in the finals if they can both take care of business. So they both ended up winning their semis 15-9 and 15-8 respectively.
Now it's finals time. It's on the live stream. You can watch it if you want. Sixers starts out with a couple of breaks, and Traffic does get one of the breaks back, and they kind of trade points till half. There was a Callahan in there, right? You must have been fired up, like Callahan in there.
Yeah.
As we talk about this game, you might have seen some of these comments on Reddit. There were some bids in the contest that the commentators and fans gasped at during the game. I'm not going to say too much about it. You can look at it for yourself. Danny, you were involved in one of the plays. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, there's been a lot of dialogue, around it on Reddit and within our own teams. I'm pretty sure, I would assume both teams are talking about it a lot. And I appreciate that. I've had some conversations with people which have made me feel good about the direction that everyone's heading in. But I don't want to say too much other than that, because it's not necessarily fair that I have a platform for which to speak my opinions about something like this without having representation from Sixers. And so I'm just going to leave it at that. I have appreciated the dialogue so far, and I hope it continues.
Good points there. Good points. So
The no points. Good points.
yeah, we like it. Eventually, the lead balloons out to 13-10 because Sixers gets multiple breaks in the second half. There's a third blue card that gets issued because there's a kicked disc on a missed catch. And so Traffic gets a short field to work with. After that break from Traffic does get the break, and then there's like this shortened field. But Sixers ends up scoring that point, I believe. Is that correct?
Yep.
And then the final point, I will say, Traffic out here bidding like crazy trying to get the block. There's people flying everywhere. And even on that last throw, there's just bodies like going like through the air. For the Vancouver fans in the audience, it does not work out as Toronto wins again. Reeve Chan flipping it to Alyssa Mason for the score. Alyssa Mason has 4 assists and 4 goals in the contest to help Toronto to the victory. And then Catherine Menzies has 3 assists and 3 goals in the loss. So super exciting final. That it was the last game of the day for those who don't know. The finals had to get moved because of impending like forest fire smoke. And so the women's final was by itself, and the crowd was electric out there. It was going crazy.
Yeah, it definitely felt like a true stadium environment.
Oh, it was sick.
It was really fun to play in a game like that. And like to go back to the cards thing, like I don't think like the cards were super obviously given. So when that the penalty happened, we're all on the sideline, like both teams like, what happened? Like what was the third card? Like we all kind of didn't really know. And so once we all kind of pieced it together, we're like, oh, okay. I know there's some controversy over whether the kick should have been a card, because in other games it hadn't been. And we'll talk about observers and observing later on in this episode, but that's kind of like what is on the sideline. We're like, what is happening? Why are they walking down? Is this some sort of like weird ceremony?
Ceremony in the middle of the game, yes.
Yeah, so it was kind of confusing. And other notables, Iris wins their bronze medal game 15-7 over Fusion, and Stella takes care of business for 5th. Big shout out to Remix for coming in 7th and beating their seed. Drift also moves up 3 spots to finish 10th overall.
Got some hype over there. We're also going to highlight scoring leaders. Once again, before I say this is the only stats we have. So if we had more advanced analytics, we could be like, yo, this person had so many yards, blah, blah, blah. But unfortunately, we don't have those stats. But anywho, Sarah Jacobson of Fusion, 35 points to lead the way in this division. Brito Santos has the most assists with 25. Remix's Aaron Bethune has the most goals with 19. So there's technically like a top 11 because people tied. But Sixers, Venus, and Traffic have 2 players. Otherwise, there's 8 other teams represented, including someone from Queen City B. So Corin Giorgetti and Incognito Sabrina Trung are some of the players represented. The most wild stat to me is Catherine Goulet of Venus has 21 points, and they come from only assists. Like there's no goals. Like even like a dishy flip outside the end zone. It's just like throwing discs into the end zone nonstop.
That is a bit weird.
That's a cool stat though. Cool stat line. There was one team, I think it was PPF. I don't know if they had their numbers in the system or something, but it looks like no one on their team scored goals. It's because I think the scorekeepers had no like numbers to write. Like they just, yeah. So get your numbers in, because more like 2/3 of the team have zeros on their like sheet, like as their number. So I don't know what happened there. Anywho, gonna go to Spirit now. Love the fact that there's a 3-way tie for first. That's fun. Momentum, Valkyrie, and Oz. 5 teams were below 10. The winners, we always highlight the winners with Spirit. They finished with a 10. I know there's some talk about fouls in the Reddit, but there's only 4 Spirit scores to go off of for them, and Traffic's is not included in that. So of the games that are recorded for Spirit scores, they only received a 1 in fouls. Excuse me, there were 7 games recorded for them, and they only got 1 in fouls for 1 game. So putting that out there, as you can take a look at their Spirit scores as well. Cube has the lowest Spirit score with 9.11. They finished with a 1.56 in rules, which is the lowest in that category. And so that's Spirit. We always say take the standings with a little bit of grain of salt, especially we'll get to open and mix where you really have to take it with a grain of salt because we got some saboteurs out there. But anywho, for picks, obviously Danny didn't pick this division. So I got 7 of 8 quarters right. So the only one I missed was Incognito switching out for Venus. I had all 4 semis right. I picked the finals right, and I picked 3rd place right. So I'm feeling good that I know the women's division very well. Uh-oh.
No, I just want to give a special shout out to like Quebec Ultimate
Oh, I
in
thought you were
general.
correcting my picks. I was nervous.
No, your picks are great, but like the fact that Cube, Iris, and Venus are all in quarters, that's pretty crazy.
Hey, we like it. And Remix out there, like making moves too. We just like different like geographic places being represented, you know. Hey, we're looking for a French host too. If someone wants to speak Francais.
Yeah, well, my picks are secret to the world. So moving on to Senior Open now. Pool play. Pool A went chalky. Furious showed their dominance with a plus 31 score differential. Quake beat Pipe 10-9 on the live stream. Super exciting. It's unsurprising to me that this is an exciting game based on the style of play that these teams play. So the Quebec City group scored 3 straight and wins on Universe. Standstill Huck from the front of the end zone to the other. Cutter wasn't even running when the throw went off. I did actually see this on Reddit as well.
Yeah,
so
it was
like,
clipped. Yeah.
just way to just throw your receiver open. We love it. In Pool B, this one did not go to chalk, where Blackfish upsets Rumble or AFC Rumble handedly, 15-7. It throws the whole pool kind of out of whack. So I watched the beginning of this game, and Blackfish just had an energy about them from the beginning that they're like, who cares? May as well just like ball out and be extremely confident, and it worked for them. The most GOAT gives up in any of their games is 15-6. So Rut finishes 4th, but some big shout out for the beer koozies. I got one myself, which I feel really grateful for. So shout out to Rut. Now we know thy name, and you might be moving on up in our teams to love ranking. Theo doesn't exactly drink. You can put pop in the koozie.
Yeah, well, I'm still working through the Spindrift, the massive cases of Spindrift I bought when we were in college. Remember that?
How could I ever forget? I barely had a seat because you're so obsessed with getting Spindrift.
We went to Costco just to get the Spindrift, and I still have 2 cases of that from college, and that's all the way back in May. So I've been.
It's like an hour and a half detour in this hot sun.
It was not an hour and a half detour, but
all right. Pool C. Pool C goes to seed. We fight on. I tell everybody that we fight. Like it's mostly a joke. Sometimes it's not. So Pool C goes to seed. Phoenix wins the pool, defeating Red Circus 15-10. And Red Circus had a really good battle with the pickup squad Flatballers, but end up winning 14-12. Pool D, we thought that the Strike Mephisto game would be the one to watch, but Strike just kind of asserting their dominance early on in the tournament, taking a 5-1 lead right away and eventually winning 15-6. Big blowout. So too bad. The polarizing team of the tournament comes third, besting Regiment 15-10. So it's too bad in friends.
Yeah, people. So I saw some Hound gear at the tournament, so I thought that was very interesting. People showing some love, but anyways, that's a polarizing team. You might hear from Hound or someone related to Hound potentially. That's all we're gonna say. Power pools, same format as women, so whatever we said for that applies here. Red Circus drops a big game to Quake, which actually puts them into the pre-quarter round. Furious takes care of business to get the top spot. I was looking forward to the GOAT General Strike power pool match. It was pretty windy. GOAT does take it 14-12. Blackfish ends up in the pre-quarterfinal round because they lose to both Mephisto and General Strike, so they got to keep themselves alive here. Lower pool, Pipe defeats Flatballers. There were 3 Flatballer players with double digits in the power pool round, so that's pretty interesting stat. And then the lower pool, Rumble bounces back. They go up plus 26 because they're angry that they got blown out by Blackfish, and they work their way back into the pre-quarters, which Danny is now going to talk about.
So Blackfish gets itself into the top 8, which you got to follow Blackfish on social media because they posted a couple hilarious videos lately. So go check it out. It's just 2 in a row. It's 2 bangers. Bang, bang, right in a row. So they get themselves into the top 8 with a win over Pipe 15-8. Again, commanding. Huge win for their program, and we do love the memes. Red Circus fizzles kind of out of the top 8, losing 11-15, and they have to face a probably pretty angry Rumble team who just dropped itself from the lower pools after day 1.
Yeah, whoever runs the Blackfish social media, like the movie clips, the subtitles that went with it, like Danny, we had to just laugh at that. That was just gold. Like someone took the time to make it, synced like these videos. So amazing. Please check it out. It's worth it. That person put a lot of work in. Okay, so now it's bracket time. Okay, so top seeds all win in quarters, but not without some drama. Strike gets a close 3-point win over Quake, but it's the Phoenix Mephisto game that people are talking about. We live streamed this. Was that you or was that Grant? I heard someone's voice and I couldn't recognize the voice. Was it Grant?
Well, it was originally me, but I
Okay.
was needing to warm up, and the goal of our warm up was focus. And so I was like, I should probably pass the phone off to somebody. And I saw Grant there, so I was like, hey, can you do this? If it's Universe, can you stream it? And I heard he was doing commentary, which I love.
Yeah. Someone gave some love for that. So Phoenix took half, 8-6, and scored out a half. And then eventually Mephisto makes its way back. They actually have a 13-11 lead, but it's Phoenix who score 3 straight to win on Universe. Boucher has one of his 5 assists to win it. So, Phoenix, you almost didn't make it to semis. They were feeling it. Mephisto gave them a good run there. Now the semis have got to be the spicy part. So fun fact for the folks at home is going to be coming in a second. So Strike beats Furious 11-9. The fun fact is, you knew this fact, by the way, before we went on air, that this is the first time that Furious has never made a CUC final. Did you know that?
Of course, I knew that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I had to do a little digging, but I did find that. So good to know, I guess, for General Strike out there, because they had a 7-4 lead. Eventually, like, Furious tries to get it back, but it's they trade out and General Strike does win. The thing I'm going to talk about is there was someone in the comments said, or like in our sticker said, why did the kick spike get a card, but this play doesn't get a card? So one of those General Strike players, not going to say who, skies a Furious George player. There's a foul called. As he's coming down, he's head tapping with the disc. Like, he's head tapping out here. The observer's talking to him. He's still head tapping a little bit. The observer makes a ruling and still head tapping, then hits like the gritty and keeps going. And that did not get a card. So that's just like interesting, because you would think that if a kick that was like kind of like, okay, the disc fell down, just kicking it over this like gritty that's happening. I don't know.
I think the card was given to the kick because the disc was kicked farther back into the end zone.
Oh, okay.
Which it affects the timing of traffic, in theory, picking up the disc on offense.
Okay.
And gives the defense more time to set up. So there is a difference between those two. One's like showboating or whatever. But I would be curious to hear from an observer at some point kind of where the line is for those kinds of technical card things, because yeah, I don't know. It seems a bit gray. Like, I understand the dangerous play ones. Those make sense to me. But the other ones, I'd be curious to hear about.
Like, it's like that one USAU, I think it was like quarterfinals or something. Jimmy Mickle drops an F-bomb just to his team, and the observer like gives him, like, calls something on him, and then the other team starts like in the opposing red zone and punches it and wins. So that was a big controversial statement. That was a few years ago now. But anywho, the other semi that was happening was Phoenix and GOAT. You know, those two regional rivals going at it. Phoenix actually breaks for half and holds out of half, but GOAT, goes on a little break run of their own, eventually taking 11-10 lead, and then they trade out. That last point, you can find those last few points in the second half on our Instagram. But everything looked very frantic because I could just see like everyone was tense. Like, GOAT was feeling tense, Phoenix was. GOAT had lost to Phoenix for the first time since 2005, so they didn't want to have it happen again. They gut it out, get the dub. And then there's the finals, which takes place. And I had the pleasure of calling the game with Clay Howlett, who I know listens to this podcast. So it was really fun to call the game. It was tricky to like play and then like have 20 minutes to like jet over and then go call the game. But nonetheless, we had the final. GOAT gets the first break. Strike looks kind of a little rocky to start. Eventually tie things up, but GOAT does take half. And they break out a half by crossing over some of their offensive pieces. So like Luke Comire and Thomas Edmonds. Thomas Edmonds is a huge addition for GOAT. If you don't know who he is, you probably should. He's playing with Truck Stop in the USAU series right now. There's a big hammer to Mike McKenzie. That makes it 10-7. Eventually, they win 13-10. So big finals victory for GOAT. Neither Danny or I picked you, so we'll get to the picks after, but good on you for winning. I saw a lot of the GOAT guys. They were giving me a lot of flack after. They were like, Theo? I'm like, I know. That was just motivation for you. That's all I'm going to say. It was just motivation. Furious George bounces back to take bronze over Phoenix 14-10. So you like to see the resilience. I know not the result Vancouver wanted, but they could have just folded. I mean, teams couldn't fold when they lose like that, a tight semi, but they came back and beat Phoenix.
Yeah, I love that for the first time ever, it felt like a 4-horse race. Like it felt like at any moment, I mean, if you have Goat facing Furious and beating them in semis, and you have Strike and beating them in semis, and you have another game that's Universe in the other semi, any given day, that could have been a different result. And that is so good for Canadian Ultimate. That's actually so good for the future of CUCs because it is actually more interesting for these teams to go. It's not just a given ride all the way to finals now. And so it's sad for the Proby Nidikman Nakobe household.
The Nakobe household. I saw the name on the stat sheet out here. Let's go.
But it's good for Canadian Ultimate. So we love to see it. Other notables, Blackfish seeded 10th and finishes 6th overall. So big jump out. We also want to acknowledge and shout out their coach, Derek Chang, because I think that coaches don't always get enough love on our pod. Like they do sometimes, depending upon who they are. But I know Derek's been coaching Blackfish for a really, really long time and has been dedicating a lot of his time and energy into that program. So I just feel really happy for him and happy for the team to have created such a positive culture with that program. And it's starting to see a lot of success. And it's just really great for those players that maybe didn't want to play Furious or aren't quite there or are young or whatever to have such a competitive culture to play in. It's a good thing. Mephisto ends up taking 5th overall. Red Circus rebounds and ends up taking 9th. And Too Bad seeded 14th, finishes 11th overall.
Yeah, you mentioned the 4-horse race. I mean, you could expand it potentially to 5 because Mephisto was 1 point away from making semis. So it's even more competitive.
That's true.
That's even more competitive. It just makes it great. Zachary Massey leads the flat ballers and the open division with 37 points. Andrew Workman of Regiment finishes with 23 goals to lead in that category. And Oren Benoon of Too Bad leads with 21 assists. Of the top 10, Too Bad has 2. So Zach Armstrong, peeped the article, by the way, that he wrote, put in a lot of work for that. So good job, Zach, for that. He finishes second with 36. Regiment also has 2 players in the top 10 with Workman and Cameron Penny. So I like the different teams represented, and you kind of see like there's no Fierce or Goat in the top 10. That's because they got some balanced scoring out here, which we like.
And usually when a team kind of is blowing out teams, their D-line's on the field a bit more. And so it does just balance the scoring anyway. So you typically will see that. So in Spirit, Rut wins overall. Spirit, congratulations to them. Only one team in the open division was below a 10, and they were quite close to a 10, which is Phoenix. So I don't know if the scores are just like weighted higher in the men's division or they're just not as volatile as in other divisions, but we'll talk about mix later. It's a little crazy. So Goat finished with an average of 10. Lowest in body fouls was a 1.57 from Quake, who also got a 10 overall. So whatever they kind of lacked in body contact, they made up with probably in attitude and other things. Too Bad gave out 15s, which we saw this same thing happen in the mixed division. So Too Bad gave a 15, so it skewed all the scores across. So Goat and Phoenix didn't get to play Too Bad, but teams like Strike and Mephisto did. So their scores might be a bit inflated.
Yeah, we had this conversation before with Dave Hochhalter that will definitely skew things. Like when a team's giving out 15s, other teams are giving out 10s. Like that is going to affect things. So,
and the solution was to kind of have like an average, like bring everybody to an average of 10 and then make adjustments based on that or something like that, I believe. But I would be curious.
That was filmed a long time ago.
That was filmed on Dave Hochhalter. If you're listening to this, I know that's actually not how you say your name, but I don't.
It's not?
Well, I do care. No. Well, everyone just says Hochhalter because it's Frisbee.
Don't tell me it's something like I've been saying wrong this whole time.
I think it's like a hard CH.
Like Hochhalter? No.
Don't come at me. I heard some people saying that. So,
dude,
anywho,
I hate to hear that.
Would be curious for somebody to do some adjustments on some of these Spirit scores so we can see kind of maybe more accurately where everyone lies. So, in terms of picks, I missed out on Pipe and Red Circus because Rumble and Blackfish made it into the top. So I go 6 for 8. I missed on Mephisto. I had Mephisto in semis and not Strike, which was a big miss. I'm just trying to be spicy out here.
I know.
And then I missed both finalists. And well, it's just sad.
That's embarrassing.
Sad news all day.
That's straight embarrassing. I'm just kidding.
Well, like, you expect, I think everybody probably picked Furious to be in the final, to be fair.
Yeah, you had the spicy pick of Phoenix. I think some people wouldn't have expected that. So you wanted to go a little
But
spice.
they were
Hey,
1 point away
it's true.
from being in that final.
That's true.
So I was 1 point away from being sort of a genius.
Yeah, we'll give it to you. I also missed. Well, no, I had 7 of 8, so I missed on Red Circus. They let me down. Blackfish. We both missed on Blackfish, so we know we got to give some love, especially the memers out there. I got all 4 semis right, just not the right order. So I had Fierce and Goat in the semi and General Strike and Phoenix. So obviously those flip flopped. I did have Fierce winning it all, so I missed on that. I had Goat getting 3rd, missed on that, but I did pick Strike to make the final and losing. So I guess I got some right, but yeah, that was open. One more division left.
All right, buckle in. Mixed division CUCs. We got Pool A, so the pool of death living up to its name. I actually watched quite a few games in this division because they were so spicy. So TT went 2-0 on day 1, besting both Crash and your homeboys team, Local 613. Red Flag wins the pool with a plus 42 score differential. So, how they say, dominant. Local gets a big universe win, 12-11 over Crash to get a spot into pre-quarters. Now, Pool B, Union holds onto the number 1 spot, and their closest game was a 15-9 win over Fight Club. Everything else seems to go to seed. Danger Noodle beats Fight Club 15-14 to just barely hold on to the 2nd spot. Ada Chang led the pool with 15 points after day 2 and was 8th overall and the top female scorer. Shout out UBC alum Ada. Pool C, super fun pool. We had number 15 Spawn go 2-0, beating Harfang and Lit. PBHG takes the pool, but does take a 14-13 loss to Lit, perhaps kind of giving an omen for things to come, but it does not affect anything because they end up holding on to that number 1 spot anyway. I'm a big believer in early adversity paying off in the long run, but you can decide. So Harfang and Lit finished 2-2. Harfang makes pre-quarters because Lit only beat PBHG and Thunder and not Harfang. So a bit of a complicated thing there. Yes, Theo.
Well, Spawn, they start 2-0. They don't end up. That's my mistake on the notes. Spawn started 2-0, so they really just like the first day of the tournament, they're like announcing that they're going to be sick, and then things continue for this team really well. So Spawn out here making moves.
I don't think that you didn't say that in your notes.
Oh, just I like to correct now before I get corrected by the fact checker on YouTube. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think it's no secret Spawn was awesome. So we will talk about Spawn more later. So Pool D, things go to seed except for the 3rd and 4th spot, with Crux besting Strawberry Kitty Kisses 10-9 on Universe, breaking for the win, and it's a huge win for the Hamilton squad. Crank had a higher score differential over Pool Play than Blaze, but come in 2nd, and the Vancouver team beats Ottawa 12-9.
Yeah, tough loss there for SKK. Got the best. We're not going to talk jerseys, but I know how many people traded for that reversible. I think they were just going to hold on to it because that was the most highly coveted item of the tournament. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I love that double baby pink outfit. It was good.
Did you get one?
No.
Oh, that's tough. Okay, now we're going to go to pre-quarters. Mixed pre-quarters is a little bit different, okay? Because the top 4 seeds get buys, so of each pool, and then the 2 3s play each other. So in pre-quarters, all the let's see here, all the top seeds make it. Let's see. We're going to take a look. So Danger Noodle beats Crux 13-8. Spawn beats us technically a higher seed than them because they were seeded 15th to begin the game or begin the tournament, but they were the 2nd seed after pool play. So they best Local 613 on the live stream 15-11. TT and Crank also win, defeating Harfang and Fight Club. And then the other thing with mixed is that there's the 4-5 crossover. So the 5 seeds have a chance to go into the 9-16 bracket, but none of them were able to win. So the 4 seeds were able to hold down their spot in the 9-16 bracket.
So in bracket play, quarters were definitely more exciting here than, say, in the women's division, where it was like all the number 1 seeds just kind of like closed out their games quite handedly, with the exception of Stella Fusion. This is different. So Union and Red Flag, they kind of took care of business, but Spawn got a big upset win over Blaze 15-12, and PBHG ekes out a universe win over Crank 14-13. And at one point, PBHG was up 10-6, but Crank showing a lot of resiliency and grit and determination and brought it all the way back to universe. So definitely some exciting stuff. Spawn, you're killing it out here. Semis, Union gets out to a 4-1 lead, including with a Callahan. And we had one of these in the finals in the women's as well. We call them Calla holds because the audience is like, that's just a hold. And it's like, it's still a Callahan. It's still cool.
Yeah, are Callahan's overrated, Danny? I'm going to put you on the spot.
There were a lot.
But are they overrated? Because people hype them up so much, but it's just 1 point. And like if it's a Calla hold, it's just a hold.
I know, but it's the mental part of it is that you threw a goal for the other team. I understand why it's a big deal.
Yeah, fair.
Like it's not like a team that can get over it quickly is a mentally strong team, but a team that lets it crumble, it's tough. So PBHG ends up getting a Callahan of their own on a D point to make it 5-3. Union takes half 8-6. So this game was very, very exciting. I watched this game a couple days ago. It was awesome. So PBHG fights back, makes it 10-10, and PBHG breaks to take the lead 12-11. Union forces Universe and a huck that doesn't work out for PBHG, and then Union works it up to score and win. So, like, just an incredible game. Spawn's run for a gold medal comes to an end as Red Flag wins 15-8 in the other semi. I really liked watching Spawn's offense because I think that they're like pretty female handler dominated. And I appreciated that because it was just different from anything else I had seen. And so seeing them have a lot of success by running an offense sort of like that made me feel warm and fuzzy. And now I am Spawn fan through and through.
Yeah, doing the opposite of the dude ball. That's it. So anyways, finals happens. Zelmont scores 2 straight as Red Flag breaks twice. A little D-line player for them, making it 4-2. And they take half 8-5. There was a super long point. I actually don't know how long it was. But Union does, it was at 10-6 and Union gets the hold. Union had a chance to break at 10-7, cutting the lead into 2, but they throw into a poach and it doesn't, like, Red Flag then scores. And then eventually Red Flag breaks to win 12-7. In the final, at the final point, there's kind of like delayed reaction of like, did we win? And then they celebrate. So it's always weird when like there's a celebration and it's kind of delayed. But the thing I want to shout out the most is that 15 people scored for Red Flag in the final. So I just love that. People getting involved, getting the minutes, making contributions. Let's go.
Especially in a final. Sometimes you'll see balanced scoring in pool play, but balanced scoring in a final or a playoff game, extra special. So other notables from around the division, Harfang seeded 5th place and ends up placing 16th. Which is sad.
Yeah, sorry, Harfang. We had to put that in there.
Drop
sorry.
Very often, but it did make space for other teams to move up, which is very nice of them. So Crux moves up from 16 to 11. TT goes from 13 to 8. So a team that was originally not even supposed to go to nationals, making it into quarters. We love that. We love that.
I mean, I don't love it that much because of what happened to me, but hey, we love it. We do love it.
We take off our players' hats and we put
true.
on our sports fans' hats.
True.
Crank has the program's best finish at 5th overall.
Okay, one side note I'm going to say is that Danny was watching the TT local game. I think you said this on the last episode, but Danny lost a bet in the junior side, so she had to wear my jersey. And you're friends with a lot of TT people, so they were kind of perplexed, perhaps, that you were wearing a local jersey. But there was one point that I felt was like 20 minutes, and you immediately took a picture of me, like, with you after, and it's like it was on our story. I think it's archived, you can see it. But I'm like hands on knees, like dying of like needing oxygen, and you're just like, hey, taking a picture with Theo. So that was funny. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I got to wear your jersey the whole day, and everyone's like, oh, you lost the bet. Like so many people around the sports complex. So cool for you. So
I mean, it's true. Okay, scoring leaders. I've been practicing this name. Tyler Gunasekara. I've been told I've been saying it wrong. Gunasekara finishes with a tournament lead with 38 points. So go a little double-double, 19 assists, 19 goals. Quentin Malik of Local 613 has 20 goals. And TJ Reeds finishes with 26 assists from Crank there. 3 teams are in the top 10 twice. So like SKK, Blaze, and Local 613. Ada Chang finishes with 23 points, good for tying for 14th, the highest scoring female. And the next highest scoring female is Jessie Chen of Local 613 with 20. which puts her 21st.
So, elephant in the room, 2 women in the top 20, and they're tied for 14th and at 21st. This is a mixed division where there's like, sometimes there's half the time there's 4 women on the field, half the time there's 4 men on the field. And I think that this is an issue that we're not trusting in the women to be finishing out points, even if they're contributing and getting hockey assists along the way. Of course, there's always asterisks beside all of these stats. But I think that this should be a wake-up call. Like if you don't have your female matching players in positions to throw and catch goals, I think you're not playing good mixed ultimate. So that's my call out. You do have to be quite intentional about it, whether I'm playing on a mixed team or coaching a mixed team. There are things that you can do, and maybe we'll have like a conversation about this another time. But for all of you teams that are done for the year, maybe have a quick chat about this. Maybe prioritize putting your female matching players at the front of the stack and giving them the actual opportunities to show that they can cut and get open in the end zone, because they probably are doing it all the way up the field. And also just, I just think some male matching players need to learn. Some male matching players need to learn how to make space better and give other people opportunities. So some people are like stat hunting at the expense of playing good mixed ultimate. Anyway, moving on to Spirit. So Jam wins with a 12.83. So Saskatoon Jam. 3 teams are below 10. Red Flag, the champs, is one of them at 9.43. They finished with a 1.71 in fouls and a 1.71 in attitude and self-control, 1.8 in mindfulness, and 2 in rules, and a 2.14 in communication. So obviously they have some categories that they're doing well in and some that need some room for improvement or have room for improvement. Quest is the lowest at 9.25, and it's mostly a rules thing. So there are some things that skew their scores a little bit. And one of the biggest things skewing scores, like in the other division, Fight Club was just giving out 15s for Spirit scores to every team and kind of making a meme of it all. So Dave from Rumble, can you help us out and kind of adjust the Spirit scores so we can actually see where everyone lands?
Yeah, what's their obsession with the cards too? Like they love talking about cards like on their stories and stuff. Like they just want to get more blue cards. Like what's up with that?
I mean, it's a joke. I don't think they actually want to get more blue cards, but it's part of their identity. It's like a joke because I think that they probably did fine in Spirit, so and probably weren't getting cards or even close to it. So, anywho, in terms of our picks, I missed out. I put Harfang and Fight Club in, but it was Spawn and TT. Spawn was obviously a big surprise, an exciting surprise. I got 3 out of 4 semis right. I had Fight Club in semis, which obviously they were not. Spawn was, and a Red Flag Union and PBHG, I had those correct. I got the winner right. I got their opponent incorrect. I had Union coming in 3rd, not 2nd.
I mean, some picks right there, and obviously I didn't.
Oh yeah, I guess you're not doing your picks.
Obviously I didn't make any picks. I actually didn't even enter the picks contest this time. I forgot. So, that's what
you didn't want to win the prize. How bad was I?
Well, I removed your score out of it, but I think you were like in the hundreds. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's because I always want to be like, I'm like, well, what if something crazy happens and I get it right? Like I always think that I'm just going to be some sort of magician instead of just kind of going more chalky, but whatever. It's okay. So we did have a story on our Instagram, which was asking for feedback about CUCs. And we had like hundreds of, so many submissions. We wrote them all out and we categorized them. We're not going to say every single one, but they do fall under some similar categories. And so we're going to kind of talk about CUCs from that perspective. Now, taking everything that we say with a grain of salt, because these are people kind of giving us semi-anonymous notes. We're not going to say everything. I also will read something that was just sent to all the players as well from BC Ultimate and the VUL about something that happened at the party, but I'll talk about that when we get to that section.
That was actually crazy.
So starting off, in general, a couple like random notes. People liked that everything was easy to access. Everything was at one site location. Everything was central. Things were close. Logistics were good. Spawn also stopped requesting that we stopped calling Toronto East Coast.
I don't think that person plays for Spawn, actually. I was trying to do some research on this person, but maybe they're from the East Coast, but yeah.
But fair. The Atlantic provinces have made their mark.
Yeah, you're the East Coast.
Also,
You're the true East Coast.
that's our bad. I do also want to do a quick shout out for my boy, Michael Walsh, from the actual East Coast and coach of Storm Women. It was nice meeting you at the party.
Yeah. So let's talk finals first. I heard this from someone, and I think this is wild. Some coaches did not get medals. So
that's not a mistake?
No, well, I think it was like they only had like the 26 medals or something, and so like that's why I didn't get them. I don't know.
Oh.
But all I'm gonna say is some coaches did not get medals. That was a message I received. So
well, I have two bronzes in my household if they want. I have a bronze at Masters and Ari got a bronze, so if they want a bronze one,
there you go.
hit me up.
Something other people said was the TDs, kudos, made great adjustments with the schedule. I will echo this sentiment. The communication related to that was really good from what people have said. So, and a lot of people actually like the finals all like back to back. Like a lot of people said that. So maybe that's something that we could do. But
I personally was really happy with the change. I was like, this is awesome. I think the atmosphere is great. Obviously, not a lot of people watch the mixed final. And so maybe like one final the next day, or I don't know how it would look, but I personally liked playing on that last day. I know a lot of people didn't. People saying having to play 3 elimination games on one day is really hard emotionally. For me, the longer I have to hold on to this emotional anxiety, the worse it is. So me having less breaks is actually better. So I actually liked playing all 3 on the same day, but I totally understand that people may need time to rest and recover, all of those things. But for me, it was great.
Yeah, the only feedback I'll give with that is that as a mixed player, we were playing during the mixed final. So none of the mixed players could watch the mixed final. So that was some feedback there that people were like, well, I want to watch, like the people we played against all week in the final. So yeah, that did happen. There was some ask for a field announcer. I believe there was one. So I think there was a field. I know, Danny, you did some field announcing for the junior final, but what's actually needed is music. We need music out there.
Yeah.
Like in between points, or like someone like doing music, like halftime especially. So it's not just like random people just talking. Someone wanted more stuff for the opening ceremonies. I wasn't there for junior, so I don't know what the opening ceremonies look like. But yeah, perhaps some more stuff there. And then this happened. They were cleaning the porta potties during the medal ceremony for junior girls. I didn't know that happened, but
it was horrible. Like putting the porta potties behind the stadium.
Danny.
I was not a fan. And yes, it was so bad. It was so smelly. They just didn't need to be right there. Like, yeah, we'll talk about porta potties later, but that was not good.
Porta potties.
All right. So yeah, we already talked about communication being good. Contingency plan, all the things, 10 out of 10. There were some complaints about the juniors not being able to move from the bottom brackets all the way up to the top. But I know that only really impacted a couple teams that cared about that. And I think some other teams probably like it. So take that feedback with a grain of salt. I think maybe we talked about this last time about having an opt-in development division could be something to do. Another person said that the AQHI threshold, so like the smoke danger, whatever threshold of being +6 is a bit tight and has potential to ruin future tournaments. So smoke is just a thing. It's a realistic thing that happens in the summer, especially here. And people are saying that 6 is too low, that like people can play maybe higher than that. So again, one person said that.
Yeah, I mean, this next thing we're going to talk about, swag bag, is not one person. There were like, I swear, like 20 or more comments about this. People hated it. Like, and I mean hated it. Like they said, it wasn't good, cheap stuff, not eco-friendly. There's a bunch of people saying stuff about how it was not eco-friendly. They want maybe some food vouchers or something like a drink ticket or just something a little bit more useful. Maybe, throw a chalk bag in there. Everyone uses chalk nowadays. I don't know, something like that. But Danny, people did not like the swag bags. So I understand it's like you got to get something for a mass amount of people, but a lot of it, and I think, just end up in waste. Like some of my teammates didn't even take it. Like they didn't really want it, you know? You just need the lanyard. That's it.
I think the way the world is going, people are not wanting random junk anymore. So I think a drink ticket or like I think at WUC they did like an ice cream voucher for an ice cream truck or something like that. Like that stuff's great. People will use it. And if they don't, it's not a big waste. So I definitely would recommend that for future. People don't need a gift bag. The lanyard is exciting enough. In terms of other things, I know we kind of talked about porta potties a little bit. They need to be more spread out. There weren't enough, and there was none for our juniors. And so during juniors, there's just like the washrooms that were kind of around, but they're quite far from most of the field locations. And for adults, they added porta potties, but they were also really spread out and really far away. It would be nicer for them to be more accessible. It was also hard to access water at times during games. I know they were running out. There weren't enough stations, that sort of thing. And there were a couple fields, especially the grass fields kind of north of the complex, that were completely torn up after juniors. We played our semifinal on this field that literally had just like chunks of grass. It was like we were like literally picking up big like mounds of earth and chucking them off the field. So apologies to anyone who has to use the fields after us. This is a lot of talking, so I'm getting a little raspy here. But yeah, people wanted tents at every field, kind of like at USAU tournaments, where every field has a tent for each team, and there's water between fields as well.
So vendors and parking, people like the vendors. I didn't actually check out any of the food trucks, but from what I hear, people liked it. So that's good. Parking was also, for those who go to No Borders, you know how that parking situation is always a nightmare. I mean, Danny, you know that firsthand because you were there. But this tournament, a lot of parking, a lot of spots. I don't think parking was ever an issue. And also, I think what makes it not an issue is the fact that there's a lot of people shuttling in from like the hotel. So that probably helps with the parking situation. No field food, though. People didn't like that. No field food.
Yeah, I think that's just kind of more of a common thing that's
Since
happening
COVID,
these days. Which I totally understand that one. So media and streaming. A lot of feelings about this one.
These are not just our feelings, by the way. I know it's going to sound like it, but like people commented multiple times about this. So
I think the party pack or like the swag bag, media and party were the three that we were like overwhelming. So scores and schedule changes needed to be faster, especially on this Saturday. Or like have a media specialist doing like this is coming from a media person. They kind of needed to know things a little bit earlier so they knew where to go, that kind of thing. Having sort of like a media liaison person that could kind of help generate the stories and like get the photographers to the places they needed to be, those kinds of things to help with those storylines. Media and streaming needs to be improved. The camera quality was blurry and the posts from UC weren't good enough or weren't often enough. There weren't enough updates coming. I know the online website actually had the wrong quarters for open junior boys for like days. Like it was the wrong teams and the wrong spots. So if you're following along at home, you actually don't even know.
You're thinking your team won.
What's happening. It was rough, to be honest. And then, yeah, a lot of people did compliment us on the stories that we were doing and that they were finding out more stuff from us. But that's helpful because teams are also tagging us. And so we created group chats with all the teams. Like we had a mixed chat, an open chat, a women's chat, and juniors chats. And so whenever we needed information, we were able to access it through them, or they were able to tag us in stories. So people just want better production quality, and they're going to have to pay for it. Obviously, like these things cost money. Like to get scaffolding is like, somebody told me it was like $10,000 or something to get scaffolding for the week. And then, but to get the pole thing that they had was about $1,000. So that money's got to come from somewhere. Ultimate Canada is not like this like cash flow, extremely positive organization. They run through a lot of volunteers for things. Like they want to keep the tournament as cheap as possible for people. So if people want better quality stuff, it's going to increase in fees. So people loved being able to watch the streams. Also, like we had people from Quebec saying, thank you so much for streaming so many of our teams.
That's not, we didn't do really that.
Well, thank you so much to Ultimate Canada.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, for streaming so many of our teams across the nation. It was awesome to kind of keep tabs.
Yeah. So Charlie Eisenhood, I know you're not listening to this podcast, but we need you up here. Keith Rayner, we need you up here. Okay. Imagine Keith and Charlie doing some Canadian games and they got to do all the research to figure out like who like a certain team is. That'd be funny.
Yeah.
That'd be funny. Okay. Observers. Ooh, interesting topic. Okay, so I'm going to go through kind of what we received for observers. So one was observers, much respect to the profession, seem to slow things down instead of speeding things up. Once again, these are not our opinions. These are opinions of our audience. Observers had a tough tournament. Lots of missed calls / weird call decisions. This was contrasted by another comment, which said, observers were excellent. We've developed an exceptional crew in Canada. Great communication. Other points related to this, bad bids need to stop, and people wanted more observers. So
Definitely our most like polarizing category, because I've heard like every time I'm on the field and we don't have observers, the only thing I'm hearing is everybody saying they wish the game was observed.
Yeah.
I personally love them. And even if there is, from your perspective, a missed call, like they're human too. And maybe you're wrong. So obviously, like people commenting negative things had a negative experience, maybe something that didn't go their way that they thought was a blown call.
Yeah.
But I mean, the fact that people are even thinking positively about a quote unquote referee in a sport, what other sport is like, yes, refs. So I think that's a good thing.
yeah.
That there's a lot of positives coming out of that category.
Are there observers in every USAU game, like at nationals? Do you know, even in like the consolation games?
Yes.
I feel like at college nats, I saw observers like in every game I did. Like I like
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
it was pretty common to like maybe the placement game wasn't observed like for like 15th, but I think all the pool play for sure was observed.
Definitely anything in the competition stream.
Yeah.
Okay, our next big category, the party. If you saw me, you would have seen me raging as well. I just wanted some Y2K music, man. Okay, so the story of the night, huge lines, really small capacity compared to how many people were actually in the tournament. Lack of Y2K music.
Yeah, that was my biggest pet peeve right here. Like they play Love Story and then they drop in like Mask Off or some other new song. I'm like, give me some more Taylor. You know what I mean? Give me some 2000s.
Yeah, and just couldn't really hear the music either and stuff too. It's not like they're maybe the right venue for a dance party. I know this is Masters, but the Masters drinks were being sold at 10 p.m. at that Masters party, and like it was very poorly communicated that there even was a party, which is unfortunate. For the senior CUCs, a lot of people didn't even get in, which I think is unacceptable. I'm going to now kind of speak to this other part, which is...
Wait, did you get a DM? How come I didn't see this DM? Oh, it's from BC Ultimate.
Yeah. So basically, there were some incidences that happened at the party, which I think were the reason why all the bars kind of shut down, drink tickets stopped being sold. Like there was a lot of stuff happening that we're like, what is happening? It's like only midnight. Like, why is all this happening? We have some answers. And so they're kind of looking into it. So I think if you have any information about anything or you saw things go down, you should contact BC Ultimate Canada, that kind of thing. But they acknowledged that the space of the party was a challenge and the schedule change at CUC due to the weather increased the number of people who were able to attend, meaning the 6 teams, or I guess 4 teams that would have been playing in finals the next day, all attended. I don't know if I think that that's a big enough increase to acknowledge that, but at one point during the evening, a number of individuals stole 4 full bottles of alcohol from one of the bar stations. This theft resulted in an additional cost of $840 to the event. What did they steal?
Yeah, what alcohol they got going on there? That I mean, I don't drink, so I don't even know the price of alcohol these days. So,
but wow! At the same time, one of the bartenders was assaulted, and some players purposely broke glassware in the vicinity of the bar stations as a theft and assault were being dealt with. These actions caused one of the bar stations to close for the balance of the evening. So, got some answers there about what happened. I was like, why is there only one? And like the bartenders looked stressed.
Oh yeah, I felt very bad for them. I'm not gonna lie, I felt very bad.
It was tough. So drink tickets were halted at approximately 11:15 p.m. following the above incidences. Drink sales were limited to beer and wine, but drink service continued until 12:45. Patrons with drink tickets had over an hour to redeem those tickets at the party. Refunds will not be considered for anyone who left the party with tickets in their possession. In addition to theft of the alcohol, some of the lighting equipment was stolen from the ballroom. This equipment has to be replaced at the expense of the tournament.
What?
While most of these attending the party behaved appropriately, the serious issues caused by a few tainted what was an otherwise great social event. So anyways, if you know anything about this, help us out, because the party at CUCs is really important, and holding people accountable for childish behavior is really important.
Do they not have cameras in there?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah. My whole team was talking about the party. A lot of us were looking forward to it, and like, yeah, it just some things happened that just didn't, result in the experience they wanted. Apparently, there was. Okay, so I'm hearing from multiple people there was a break time for local chant in the party. I didn't hear it, but maybe I just wasn't like there. So like at that exact part of the dance floor, but people were going hard. It was fun to see people like non and frisbee clothes, and Danny and I also got to hang out, albeit briefly. But anyways, okay. Last few things we got. AT. Some people didn't like the field tape. I guess there's certain brands they don't like. I don't know. People think that you shouldn't have to buy tape at medical. Once again, I'm going to ask you at USAU, do you buy tape at medical? You probably don't know.
Do you think the person saying field tape meant the tape lining the fields?
Oh, I think that's actually what they meant.
Yeah, you think you might have put it in the wrong category.
Oh, might be. Yeah, you're right.
But it is with the other tape, so maybe this is just like a tape category.
No. I think that was on me.
Yeah, medical at like USAU tournaments, you just go get taped.
Okay. There were also complaints that the ATs were late. I mean, it's always hard. I think you need more ATs. I think it's better to have more. And this is me talking, not the audience. I think they also need to be spread out because, like, if there's an issue that happens, like, I know you have the golf carts, but it's easier if someone like there's like ATs spread out so that like people at certain parts of the complex can get taped up there. So there's like potentially less of a line. So
yeah, I never understood this about frisbee tournaments where the ATs would start when the games start. Like,
wait,
those people need to get worked on before warm up.
Yeah, an hour at least.
At least an hour and a half.
Yeah, because some people might come early. Like if you have a nagging injury, you might be coming early to specifically see them. So the fact that you're like out for like a game because you're like in this line, like trying to see them, like that's not good.
I have the biggest tickle in my throat, so I'm supposed to talk about spirit circles, but I need you to take over for me for a second.
Okay.
Candid.
Spirit circles. People need to address spirit issues in the circles themselves, is what we've been told. Some people didn't like the comments were public for everyone. I'm going to add my personal opinion right after this. Spirit circles need to be looked at. One team, there's actually more than one team. Giving everyone 15 makes no sense. I agree. I'm just going to circle back to the point about comments being public. I actually like that the comments are public because then it holds teams accountable. So it's like as
long as people know that those comments that they're writing are public. I think that was the issue.
Was that not communicated?
No, and that's never usually public from what I know.
Okay. Oh, I guess it depends. Maybe not CUC. I know there was No Borders. I think the scores were public, or the comments. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no. I mean, there's also a part that says like you should just have the comments be available to the two teams so they can talk it out instead of like throwing a team on blast. Because then you can go to other teams and be like, yo, why this happened to you or something.
I think like every time traffic does a spirit circle, we will mention any category that deviates from a 2. And we'll say in the spirit circle and we'll say why. And I think most teams are doing the same for us. Like whenever we got a spirit score that deviated from 2, like they told us in the spirit circle what the issue. They said we want you to use more hand signals. We thought you were like crowding the line or whatever. Like none of our scores were a surprise to us. And I want to acknowledge all the teams that we played against for also doing that. It's hard to stand up in front of a group of people after a game, whether you win or lose, and talk about the things in the game that needed to improve. But I personally felt like that was really good. And so for the teams that didn't get to experience that, I think that needs to be a shift. You should talk about the things that deviate, good or bad.
Yeah, maybe people are just like afraid to like say it in front of other people's faces or whatever. But yeah, I think spirit in general maybe needs to get relooked. I'm not going to share my opinion about spirit circles like publicly or any of those things, but I think sometimes like it needs to be relooked, especially the whole 15 thing, like the 15 like skewing scores, like that's kind of weird. Like someone could win the spirit prize because they played 2 teams that just end up giving higher spirit scores. And that's just how, I don't want to call it luck, but that's just how it goes. So.
Yeah, it's a bit tough, but c'est la vie, we move on. So that is the end of Club Canadian Ultimate. If all you Canadian teams are competing in the States still, good luck. It's going to be a very, very exciting fall season. We're closing up the summer season in USA Ultimate this upcoming weekend or like next weekend.
Yeah, Pro Champs,
And
right?
then Pro Champs. And then college ultimate season is upon us. So if you're going to college and you are at a school where there's a team, go try out or just enjoy, have fun playing on the team you already played on. But it's not goodbye from us. It's see you soon.
Yeah, see you soon. We'll see you at the next CUCs, which is in Ottawa, which we said in the last part of news. Yeah, we'll preview US Open. I don't know when we're going to have said player.
Pro Champs.
Pro Champs. Did I say US Open? Might be. Pro Champs. It's been a long day. I'm not sure if we're going to have said person on. We're hoping to. But yeah, that'll be kind of fun. College season, yeah, tryouts are happening. I see people posting tryouts and stuff. So I don't think, maybe not so much in the West Coast. I mean, when you're on the more central to east part of the country, not East Coast, of course, you have to run your tryouts now or soon because the season's 6 weeks. So that's what you gotta do.
It doesn't have to be 6 weeks. Anyway, follow us on socials.
What about
Theo
them?
is going to hit up subscriber only.
Yes.
Where you normally do commentator's corner. Is that what you're going to do this
No,
time?
I was just gonna. Ooh, good question. No, I'm gonna just talk about my experience playing nationals and what that meant, like for the first time in a long time. So, yeah, I'll do that.
All right.
Thumbs on.
It's a good thing I'm a subscriber because I want to hear about your nationals
Yeah,
experience.
you need to get a subscription. I don't know why you're paying for 2 subscriptions right now. That just sounds like lost revenue from the Nicobe household.
Yeah, and I just I'm really bad at like doing those things. Anyways, all right.
Hey,
Thanks
I'm just
everybody
holding
for
you
tuning
accountable.
in. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it this week. Give me my money back, Ulti-Rolled. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you next week for our Pro Chance preview and maybe a really sick interview.